What is the real-world range of a Mustang Mach-E GT Performance Edition? Well, I just purchased this 2021 yesterday, and it's got just a few miles on it, so it's brand new. The EPA says the real-world range, or rather the EPA range, is 260 miles. I'm going to be taking it on the highways, I'm going to be taking it over some mountain passes, and I'm going to be driving quickly, which means with traffic, and that's going to be at the speed limit and perhaps sometimes maybe slightly above the speed limit. So I'm going to drive it the way I drive my Supra. I think we're going to get the kind of mileage that's reflected of real-world driving. So let's get on the road and figure it out. We are setting out with a 100% state of charge. It says the range is 235 miles. Charged it up last night, and I'm going to give you updates as we go along the way. As I say, I'm going to drive with traffic, so I think that's going to be anywhere from about 65 to 75 miles an hour, depending on traffic. I've decided I'm going to travel from Los Angeles, and I'm going to go north, and I think I'm going to go up towards the Mojave area. I think there's going to be less cars there. That's at least my guess for today. Get to see a little bit of the desert on a lovely winter day. And I'm also going to talk about why I chose the Mach-E. Whoa, this thing is quick! Why I chose the Mach-E GT Performance Edition over the regular Mach-E or over the regular GT. So the GT has quite a bit more horsepower and torque than the regular Mach-E does. This has 480 horsepower, and this has 634 pound-feet of torque. So there's a difference between the Performance Edition and the regular GT, and there's a couple things aside from the extra 34 pound-feet of torque. From a performance perspective, this gets the MagneRide suspension. And what that means, these are active dampers in here. So there's a fluid in the shocks, and the way that they stiffen up or get softer is by applying some current to the fluid in the shocks. And the fluid is filled with an iron material, sort of a ferrous material. And so the fluid actually gets thicker and thinner by the application of electricity. And what that means from a practical standpoint is that as you're going over the road, it actually gives you a smoother ride because it's able to react to the ride, or rather able to react to the road many, many times per second and kind of smooth out the ride. Now, this is not a luxury ride. And actually, when you move into the unbridled mode, it actually stiffens up the shocks and gives you a little bit less body roll. So it's actually good from a performance, from a handling perspective. And that's the main reason why I got it too. But one of my other very minor complaints is in the ride of the regular Mach-E, let's say the premium, is that it can get a little bit bouncy because you've got a lot of weight going on here. This is the vehicle that weighs in the 5,000 pound range, and that means you've just got a lot of weight to deal with. So with conventional springs and conventional dampers, you get a little bit of extra motion sometimes, and I find that this MagneRide suspension really kind of reduces that and really makes the ride quality really good. This is not a soft riding SUV, but it's very comfortable for me, and I'm loving it so far. And so far I've got not a whole lot of miles on this thing. I've got 52.4 miles on this. This is the first rest stop, and so far we've driven 45.3 miles on this trip. We've been driving about 55 minutes, and our state of charge is 76%. So now we're at 94, 95 miles, let's call it, and we've actually gone up a fair bit of altitude. We've climbed up about 2,400 feet, give or take, and we're at about 3,000 feet right now, and we spent about 55 minutes getting here. So it's not looking like too exciting. That was quite a bit of charge used up, about a quarter of the charge used up just for 45 miles of the trip. Now, if we extrapolated that, that would be around 200 miles roughly. We're going to see how it goes. I've not been trying to take it easy at all. I've just been driving the way I want to drive. I had some criticism in the last video. In fact, let me show you what's on the screen right now. It says, how is my driving? Acceleration, 85% deceleration, 95%, speed 7%. So I've been not very good with speed. And my energy use has been going mainly to driving, about 97% to driving, and the rest is just to accessories and climate control. So we're going to continue, and we're just going to see how far we can go. I've made it to the middle of nowhere so far. I've driven 83 miles, about 2 hours. I had a quick stop at McDonald's, not sponsored. So delicious, so healthy too. Right now I'm at 59%, 134 miles to go, or left is what it's telling me. And my usage is pretty heavy. I'm getting 2.1 miles per kilowatt hour, so not super efficient. I've been driving with traffic. I've been making no particular effort at efficiency. I'm just kind of driving the way I normally would. So now we're gonna head across towards Bakersfield, across the 58, and we're gonna see exactly how far we can get. But first, I think we need a little acceleration. Oh, Jesus. Oh my God, this thing is very quick indeed. Holy, yeah. It only gives you about 5 seconds of that full power though, and then it cuts it, and it's quite noticeable when you get the cut, but whoa, whew, she's fast. She's very fast. So I've made it to the middle of nowhere, which means the Central Valley in California. I drove from Mojave, the spaceport, all the way across the 58 to Bakersfield. And then now I'm on the 99 and I'm heading back south to Los Angeles. And it tells me that I've got 57 miles of range to go. I'm at 26%. My total trip so far has been 160 miles. And it's telling me to charge in 23. So if this is right, we're looking at about 210 miles of range. However, there's no way I'm gonna make it back to my house because we've got to go up about 4,000 feet over the Grapevine, it's called. It's the I-5 going into Los Angeles from the Central Valley. So I've got a lot of distance to go up. That's my radar detector talking to me right now. And I don't think that my current range is gonna keep doing what it's doing. I think it's going to get worse. So let's continue, let's find out, see when I'm gonna have to charge. I'm driving, I would say, aggressively. I'm driving with traffic, and traffic tends to be going very quickly today. Let's just put it that way. And I think this is sort of a very realistic mileage check. Thank you, radar. See you in the next stop. So we're getting into evening and it is beautiful out right now. We're definitely hitting some traffic before we go up the Grapevine. It's getting pretty dark right now, doing about 70 miles an hour, and I'm hands-free. I've got it in BlueCruise right now. I am keeping my eyes on the road. My hands are close to the wheel, but you can see that BlueCruise, even at night, is doing an amazing job, actually, of keeping me going straight and going down the road. There haven't really been too many disconnects of it on straight roads like this. Even when you come up to an exit, it's pretty good. Definitely disconnect when you're going a little quicker, when you're going on a curvy road, when there's a lot of traffic around you and the conditions are difficult for it to see the lines. But on a road like this is like pretty chill and pretty relaxing. I'm very impressed with this technology. So the low battery warning light just came on. It's quite prominent right in front of me. It's telling me I have 23%. It's telling me to charge in 17 miles because I have 48 miles of range. I'm going to ignore that 17-mile thing, and we're just going to see how far we get. I'm willing to bet that 48 number is going to go down, so I'm definitely going to keep my eyes open for a charger. Even if it's not the fastest charger, if I can get 30, 40 miles, that's going to get me home without having to worry about getting stuck on the side of the road. But we're definitely getting down to it right now. And let's see, our total trip so far, 167 miles. So here's the situation. It's interesting. I've traveled 184 miles so far. I've been going up this pretty steep hill, this pretty steep grade. I'm not quite sure how many more vertical feet I would have to go up, but I'm thinking at least another 1,000 feet up. And I have 7% battery life left. And so the next charging station is about 29 miles away from here. When I pulled in, it said that my range was 17 miles, and of course I was driving slowly just to find the charger for a couple of minutes, and now my range went up to 36 miles. So could I make it to the next charging station? Possibly, but that is the next one. There's nothing in between, so I don't really have a lot of choice here. So I think I don't want to take a flat toe back. I think I've kind of proven the point. So if this theoretical distance of 36 miles is accurate, that would put me at 219 miles. In theory, in actual practice, I've driven 184 miles. So I think what we're seeing here with aggressive driving in the mountains with a lot of vertical climbed up and down, I'm looking at probably about 220 miles of possible range. So I think this is pretty much the worst case scenario. I think this is the worst mileage you're going to get, is maybe a little over 200, maybe 220, something like that, driving in steep hills, going up a lot of vertical, driving aggressively. I think this is pretty good. I'm not too disappointed at all. I'm going to plug in here at this fast charging station and add up a little bit of juice and get back home. This is a charge point station along the I-5 in an area called Fraser Park, and this is a fast charger. It's not the fastest possible. The Mustang Mach-E is capable of charging at up to 150 kilowatts. This is charging at 62. In fact, it says it's 62, but I'm really getting about 54, which is not too bad. So in the about 18 minutes that I've been here, I've added 43 miles of range. That's pretty good. 17 minutes actually, 43 miles of range. Can't complain about that. That's definitely enough to get back home in 17 minutes, so I'm not going to complain about that. I think it's pretty good. The cost so far is $6.50. I'm going to be able to get home with about 20 minutes of charging, so I took a quick little bathroom break. And that's the state of charging right now. At least in California, it's not too difficult. If in your other states, it might be more difficult, but I think the realistic range of this driving, like I was, is around 220 miles. I don't doubt that I can hit 260, but we're gonna do some more tests in the future. We're gonna try it at different speeds and get a chart going so we can figure out exactly what the real world range of this is. Do I have range anxiety? Not really. It was telling me all along the way what to expect. And I want to give a huge shout out to my sales guy, Gabriel at South Bay Ford. He was absolutely awesome.
We don't have markups on regular cars like this. Maybe like on a Raptor or GT500, but on these kind of cars, we don't do any kind of markups. So, you guys come on down. And thank you, Eric, for your business. We really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. So if you enjoyed this video, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you want to see more content like this and other automotive content. My name is Eric. See you soon.